Good afternoon, students, and welcome to lesson 3 of animals and animal products. Today we shall be talking about fish. I believe you all know what a fish is. You've been eating fish, and day in, day out, your meals dominate with what? Fish. So by the end of the discussion, each one of you should be able to identify the different kinds of fish and select them appropriately. Identify the different kinds of fish and select them appropriately. On the screen is the picture of the various fishes. So I would like you to have a look at it. So on the screen, we have various kinds of fish over there. We have the red fish over there, we have the cassava fish, we have salmon, we have lobster, and we have shrimp. Now, let us then ask ourselves, what then is fish? What then is fish? Fish are said to be a cold-blooded vertebrate living organism exclusively in fresh or salt water. In other words, we said that they are aquatic creatures. In other words, we said they are aquatic creatures because we are dealing with what? Sea and river. So we are saying they are what? Aquatic. So once we said aquatic, we know that aquatic is what? Water. So either being sea or river is what? Aquatic. So fish are what? Aquatic creatures. That serves as what? Food for human. That serves as food for human. So we've said that fish are cold vertebrate living exclusively in fresh or salt water. Fresh or salt water. So in the other books, they are saying that they are what? Aquatic creatures to avoid fresh and what? Sea water. Let us continue and put these what? Creatures of aquatic into various groups. Now, we have two classifications or two major classifications of these aquatic creatures called fish. The first classification is what is called fish or fin fish. We normally call it fish, but in our study we classify them into two, and we are referring to the first section as what? Fin fish. And also we have shellfish. Shellfish. Again, the fin fish is also being classified again into two, and these classifications are leen or white fish. Leen or white fish. Example, we have swordfish, we have haddock and cod. These are what? Example of what? White fish. They are white because they have minute amount of what? Oil deposited in their system. So it is mostly what? Prescribed for people who are on fat restricted diet. Secondly, or the second group of the fin fish is oily fish. Oily fish. Examples are mackerel, we have catfish, and we have salmon. These are what? Examples of oily fish, and as the name suggests, it contains or they contain volumes of oil, which most women prefer. So when they go to market, they choose to buy what? Stradinam and all those things in our local parlance. And the second classification is the shellfish. And the shellfish is also grouped into two. And the group one is mollusks. Examples are oysters, we have clams, and scallops. And the second classification is crustaceans or crustaceans. Examples are shrimp, lobster, and crab. And taking these two classifications of the shellfish into consideration, one is the hard shell, whilst the other one is soft shell. The mollusks are what? Hard shells, whilst the crustaceans are soft shells. And the soft shells, which is the crustaceans, they have what? Marks or ridges on them. Let us continue. On the screen is the picture of the white fish, all kinds of what? White fish, those that can be filleted. Now, let's proceed. Fish, as we know, they are protein and they contain what? All kinds of essential nutrients. We also said that they are high biological protein and they contain the same nutrient that can be found in the meat as we treated in our previous lesson. Cool. So in general, the nutrients contributed by fish are similar to those of meat. So fish contain the following nutrients such as protein. It contains all the essential protein materials as compared to what? Meat. Therefore, we are saying that fish is also what? One of the high biological protein food. It also contains minerals, all kinds of what? Minerals, the calcium and so forth, they are all there. And we even said that the protein, the calcium of fish is more better as compared to that of meat, because the fish bone you can chew it, but the one in meat you cannot chew everything. Taking herring for instance, you can chew all kinds of bone in it, so the calcium and other essential mineral in it will be what? Derived by the body. We can also say that one of the nutritive value of fish is that it contains vitamins. It contains both fat-soluble vitamin and water-soluble vitamin, in exception of what? Vitamin C. It contains all the essential vitamins, in exception of what? Vitamin C. It contains ADEC, that's for short, that's vitamin A, E, and also contain some of the B vitamin, that's niacin and so forth and so on. We can also say that the fish contains fats. It contains saturated fatty acid, but of the lower side as compared to what? Meat. Therefore, these days most people prefer taking what? Fish, because the fat level in it is better as compared to meat, because meat is what? Supersaturated or contains supersaturated fatty acid. And in our previous lesson, we studied that this saturated fatty acid comes from high biological protein, whilst unsaturated fatty acid comes from what? Low biological protein. So the low biological ones are what? From plants, whilst the high ones are from animals. So we are saying that the nutritive values that are found in fish are protein, minerals, vitamin, and fats. Let us continue. The assignment of the day is on your screen. The assignment is that you should read about the following areas. That's the point to consider when buying fresh fish. Point to consider when buying fresh fish. There are certain key elements you should observe whenever you are going to buy fresh fish. You don't have just to walk in and buy fish anyhow. So you read about point to consider when buying fresh fish. Also, the forms in which fish can be purchased. Fish can be purchased in so many forms. So I would like you to read about it so that when we meet one-on-one, we'll be able to dissect it very well. And also, signs of freshness of fresh fish. Signs of freshness of fresh fish. Read about signs of freshness of fresh fish. That is the assignment. So, today we've been able to explain what fish is. We said they are cold-blooded animals, or in other books they said they are aquatic creatures that are used by humans. So we explain what fish is, and now whenever wherever you go, you know what fish is, but no one will ask you such a question in any serious exam that you should explain what is fish. But it is advisable we know what a fish is. And also we talked about the classification of fish, and we said the fish is being classified into two major groups. We have the fin fish, which is popularly known as fish, or we normally call fish, and we also have shellfish. We also talked that this shellfish has been put into two groups. Likewise, the fin fish also been put into two groups. We said the fin fish, we have the oily fish and we have lane fish or white fish, and the shellfish we have mollusks and the crustaceans. And we look at the pictures already, and we also talked about the nutritive values of fish. We said fish contain protein, and which is the best one for people who are on fat restriction. So we said the protein of fish is of the best to people who are on fat restricted diet. So one of the nutritive value of fish is protein. It contains protein. It also contains minerals, all the essential minerals such as calcium, because you can chew the fish and the bones, everything together, as compared to meat. And we said meat, if you don't prefer the bone, you do away with the bone. But for fish, you'll be able to chew the meat together with the bones. So all the essential minerals that are deposited in the bones are being made use by the body. And what you should bear in mind is that for the body doesn't know whether you are chewing calcium or whatever it is, but it's rather taking minerals. And also we say fish contain vitamins, all the essential vitamins. That is water soluble vitamin and fat soluble vitamin. And we all know what the fat soluble vitamin is and what water soluble vitamins are. When we talk about fat soluble vitamin, we are referring to the vitamins that are found in in the fat, and those that are found in water, we refer to them as water soluble vitamins. And also one of the nutritive value of fish is fats. It contains fat, and these fats are low of nature, in the sense that despite the fact that we said for animal proteins or for animal food it contains high biological protein, the fat in it is supersaturated. But taking the fish into consideration, the fat level of fish is low, so it is appropriate for people who are on fat restricted diet. So in the nutshell, we are saying that fish contain protein, minerals, vitamins and fats. And before I've given you the assignment, which I said you should read about, point to consider when buying fresh fish, forms in which fish can be purchased, and signs of freshness of fish. In our next lesson, we will talk about all these things. The note is attached to the video. Therefore, it is advisable, it is necessary for you to print the material out and read. Any misconception or issues that